Okay, let's start and continue with our lecture on the linear vector spaces. So we have covered some basics already, seen bases and how to construct a transformation between the bases, etc. So now let's try to understand how a component of vector uh, changes under a change of basis. Let's take a vector space V to be Rn. It's just convenience. One could use general vector space too with the dot product with the two bases EI and FI. The matrix A is equal to AIG with a transformation between the bases E to Fi such that the basis elements Fi hat are expressed as a linear combination of Ej with the coefficient Aij. So we have already seen this. Okay, let the matrix B is equal to Bij with the transformation taking the basis Fi to Ei such that every element of a basis vector Ei can be expressed in terms of Fj with the coefficient Bij. So this is a two transformation taking back and forth between the basis vectors Ei and Fi. Let V be the vector in the vector space V. The vector V can be expressed in terms of bases Ei and Ej. So this is just a linear combination with the coefficient as a component. So it is V can be written as Vi Ei. I is missing here. It should have been Ei summed over I is equal to 1 to n. Pictorially, you have a basis vector E1 and E2 and then vector V can be written expressed in terms of two component V1 and V2. The same vector V can also be written in terms of the basis vector F. It is again the component along each direction along Fi is written as a V bar I. So again pictorially you can have a F1 and F2 to vector two basis vectors which are represented here as a orthonormal and in that basis vector you can express vector V again as a component V1 bar and V2 bar. That is in two dimension, but in general it can be written in an arbitrary direction. So Vi are the component in the basis vector Ei and V bar I is a component in the basis Fi. So the question is whether we can relate these two coefficient Vi and Vi bar. So let vector V be a element of vector space V and let V be expressed in terms of basis vector Ei and Fi as follows. V is a linear combination of Vi Ei in terms of basis vector E. Same way we can express in terms of V bar I Fi bar where Vi A bar is a component along Fi. Now we look at the expression for F cap and write it in terms of E hat, so that we have done this transformation earlier for the transforming basis. So we substitute Fi in terms of Ei with the Aik are the coefficients of the transformation. Now we factor out Ek just for convenience and understanding. There is no real reason to write other than just the look of it. And then we take a dot product with the vector El, as we have done in the earlier case. We take the dot product in both right hand side and left hand side, and then we know that the Ei dot El is equal to delta IL, and Ek dot El is a delta KL. With this substitution, we can sum over, because delta Ijk trivially satisfy the summation, and then finally we get the expression for VL component in E basis in terms of the transformation coefficient AIL and the vector component V bar in the F basis. So this is how the component of a vector transforms under the change of basis. Now here is a homework problem, is to show the inverse relation. It's straightforward as it is done for this case too. One has to use the other vectors and substitute and simplify and show that the basis, the coefficient or the component in the F basis, which is written as V bar L, can be written in terms of the transformation BIL and component VI in the E basis. So this is you need to show and submit along with the notes for this video. For a while we can forget about the basis vector and just worry only about the transformation of component. It gives us some insight into the component, because in the physics most of the time we talk about the component of how they transform under the transformation. So we know that it is a one and the same whether we transform the basis or whether we transform the component of the vector. It is a basic relation between the vector basis which appears. So they are one and the same, but let's pretend as if do not have any basis, or push the basis under the carpet and worry only about the components. So the component transformation can be written in terms of matrices in a very simple manner, where the transformation matrix Aij or Bij in both relation and its inverse is written in terms of n cross n matrix, while the component of a vector in the each basis is written as column vectors. So in this case the vectors are represented by the component of corresponding basis as a column vector. So one side we have in the E basis and the other side we have in F basis, and the transformation is given by matrix multiplication. The matrices represent a set of all linear transformations, so it is very useful to study their property and useful for the vector transformation too. The most useful connection comes in when the basis vectors are connected with the coordinate system and the vector space becomes position vector, and the transformation connecting them become the coordinate transformation. That is when you look at the mechanics. On the other hand, quantum mechanics and so on, which uses the vector space very extensively, but they are complex vector spaces, which is directly represented in terms of matrices. and all properties of matrices are comes to handy while using the vector space. The norm of the vector with this new notation is given by V transpose into V, where the T transpose, the transpose of the vector, and then when we take a dot product, you convert, we are already representing the component as a row vector, transport become a column vector, and we can multiply them and we get a number, and that is the length or the norm of the vector. The dot product also can be written with the same notation, where if v and u are two vectors, then v dot u or u dot v can be written as a u transpose v or v transpose u. So again, the column vector, which we call components, get transposed and become a row vector, multiplies, and we get a scalar. So however, if there are complex vector space, you also need to do self-adjoint, but we will not get into complex vector space at present. It might come time later after we doing the complex number. Now we have seen how the vector component change under the linear transformation. Now we should see how the norm of a vector changes under the linear transformation. Let A be the matrix which represents the linear transformation of vector component from one basis or one system to another basis system. Let V and U be the component of vector represented as a column vector and transformed into V bar and U bar as matrix multiplication with where U V bar is given A into V and U bar is given into A into U. Now we can take a V dot U, which is essentially transpose of V multiplied by U, and we do it on the both side, and then substitute for the transformation matrix. We have V transpose V bar transport U, that is equal to V transport A transpose into A into U. So this shows that how the matrix norm or a dot product transforms. If transformation preserves the dot product, then transformation matrix should satisfy the condition that A transpose is its own inverse, or A transpose into A must be identity matrix. So if this condition is satisfied, then the dot product between the two vectors are preserved under such transformation. Such transformations are extremely useful. We know that the dot product also represents the angle between the two vectors. So these are the angle preserving transformations, and they are called orthogonal transformation, because a vector which is orthogonal in one frame or one basis would remain orthogonal in other bases too. So in the case of Rn, one can explicitly see that when this happens, the determinant of A should be plus or minus 1. When determinant is 1, you can just put the determinant on this equation, A transpose A equal to identity matrix, and then we get this as a determinant of A should be plus or minus 1. So that is a condition for orthogonal transformation which preserves the angle. Let's quickly get into a interesting mathematical concept, or the pure mathematical we say, but it is sometime useful in physics too, which is called dual vector. Every vector space V, one can define a dual vector space, and element of dual vector spaces are called dual vectors. So there are mathematical definition as a mapping of them from the vector space to the scalar. So which essentially means that dual vector V star, when acted upon a vector U, produces a number. That means it is like if it is a function or an operator which operates on U, would produce a scalar or a number. So is to say that V acting upon U would be sigma, where sigma is a number. Of course, this need to satisfy all the linearity conditions. That means when dual vector acts on a linear combination of vectors such as V star alpha into U plus beta into W, then we should get alpha into V star acting upon U plus beta into V star acting upon W. In the same way, if we have two dual vectors V star and U star, then the linear combination of alpha into V star in beta into U star acting upon the vector W should give you alpha into V star acting upon W plus beta into U star acting upon W. So at some stage it looks a completely mathematical structure to have it, but it also makes sense when we look at our matrix representation for the vectors and also with the for the vector space with the dot product. There something interesting happens. One can define a dual vector through the scalar product. That means we say that the V star acting upon vector U is essentially V dot U, and that is a number. So this does two things. It actually transforms dual vector V star to a vector V in a unique way, or one-to-one way, and then takes the dot products and transform it to number. More interestingly, if we have a definition given vector as a scalar product, we'll have a one-to-one mapping between the vectors and dual space, and all the properties of vector spaces also can be mapped into the properties of the dual spaces. When we have a basis for the vector space, we will have a dual basis for the dual space, and all this property of linearity should be satisfied. So the main reason it cleanly can be represented in terms of matrix notation, if vectors are represented as a column vector, or the component of vectors are represented by a column vector, then the dual vectors are represented by row vector. The operation of dot product or the operation of a dual vector on a vector giving a scalar would be simply multiplication of a row vector and column vector. That is one way to distinguish between the vector and dual vector. But however, we have a unique relation between every vector to its dual vector.